according to Giving USA, last year Americans gave $358 billion to charities throughout the country. 5% of that giving was from corporations. So that amounts to $17.77 billion. And that represented a 13% increase over the amount of corporate giving in 2014. So corporate giving is on the rise and certainly is one part of a good resource development strategy. So with that, I'd like to cover 3 key points today that relate to the business of corporate support. First, I'd like to look at why corporations would invest in your club and why they make corporate donations in general. Second, how to find funders who are a good match for your club. And then third, how to approach those funders. So to start, why do companies give and why would they support your club? I think we really need to think about the company's business objectives, the company's reason for giving, so that we know whether they're a good match and whether we should approach them. So one of the key reasons that corporations make investments is because they want to advance their own business objectives. Here are a few ways that a corporation might advance its business objectives charitably. First, if you share an audience or constituency with them. So for example, if I'm a company that makes children's clothing, I might see the Boys and Girls Clubs as a good match. If I'm a company that makes books for kids, I might be interested in reaching out to the Boys and Girls Club. Are there companies who might want to connect with your constituent? Fast food companies sometimes are interested in connecting with the busy parents that we serve. And then thirdly, do you address issues of interest to their company? So Buffalo Wild Wings, for example, is interested in teaming up to support kids. And so we address issues of interest to Buffalo Wild Wings, which is why they support Boys and Girls Clubs. Next, can you help to increase the corporation's brand visibility? So at the bottom there I just have an example of one Boys and Girls Club and the way that they were trying to spread their visibility. If you're visible in the community, then you help the corporation to get in front of the public and to have a bigger audience because they are able to use your audience as well. So when you're talking to a corporation and you're trying to show that you're a good match, you would show how you meet their business objectives. You would show how you're very visible because those are benefits that the corporation could accrue as well. Next, do you benefit their employees in some way? So for example, JCPenney's, lots of their employees also have kids who are members of the Boys and Girls Club. At least that's the way it is in my community. And so JCPenney's has that partnership. That might be one reason that they were interested in the partnership. Another way that we could benefit employees is by having volunteer opportunities for their corporate employees. That's something that the corporation sees just in general, but also there will be specific stories that come back to the leadership team after employees have volunteered at your club. They'll talk about the wonderful kids, the great facility, the amazing programs, and those things reinforce that you're a good place to donate. Here are a couple of statistics relevant to advancing business objectives, brand visibility, and benefiting employees. Customers will pay more for products from a company with good values. And so that's something that you are able to help them to promote because they're able to show that they have a partnership with a reputable and important organization. 71% of millennials said that they would likely choose a company with a commitment to the community if all other factors were the same. So it helps them to retain employees and to attract employees by being involved with you. Additionally, corporate citizenship is one of the reasons that a corporation might choose a Boys and Girls Club to invest in. So what does this mean? How do we enhance the community, making it a more attractive place to live and work? By providing services that help kids to graduate, to be successful, to be more healthy, to be better citizens. We're enhancing the community, which helps the corporation to have to be able to attract and retain better employees, to be able to do its business right in a more efficient way. There sometimes are areas of complement. For example, if you're teaching financial literacy and approaching a bank, that's a great area of complement. And then lastly, you often have a network of community leaders that corporate executives really want to know. So you can benefit them in terms of corporate citizenship as well. Now, one of the things that we hear clubs promoting is, you get a tax benefit. There's a tax benefit. And certainly that's true, but that's not the reason why a corporation would probably choose you. yes, they can deduct up to 10% of their pre-tax profits to charitable giving, and they have a charitable giving arm as a result of this, but being tax deductible doesn't set you apart from other nonprofits, because all nonprofits are have donations to all nonprofits are tax deductible. So next, let's look at finding corporate funders. And this relates to the concepts of prospecting that we've talked about throughout this Quick in Our series. Not everyone is a great prospect for you. They need to have ability, affinity, and access, just as an individual donor would. So just because a business exists in your community doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to meet all of the criteria we just talked about. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a great fit. That being said, a lot of the corporations or businesses in your community are a good fit. So here are some ways to find good corporate prospects. Think about those, of course, that are located in your geographic area, but that also includes subsidiaries, divisions, plants, offices, stores, as well as headquarters. So, for example, if there's an Oscar Mayer factory in your community, even if it's not HQ, you might still be able to build a partnership with them. Think of those companies with BGCA partnerships. One of the things that you can do really easily is leverage at a local level national partnerships. And there is a handout that you can download after our webinar is over that lists all of our national corporate partnerships. This is an easy win for you, because these are folks whose headquarters have already said we have a commitment to this organization, but they have local dollars to spend as well. So for example, Coca-Cola is a wonderful national partner. If there was an affiliate, say a distributor or a bottling plant in your community, there might be people there who want to volunteer, there might be possible board members, and there might be the opportunity for them to invest. You'll find your corporate prospects based on what they do. Is that parallel to your mission? And based on what you do you benefit them in some way? And then lastly, find companies that provide the type of support you need. For example, some organizations may only give gifts in kind. If that's not something that you need, there's no point in knocking on their door, because you know that's all you're going to be able to get. To find this out, you can do a little bit of research about their corporate giving history. If they have a company-sponsored foundation, look at their 990. That should be available online. You can also look at their direct corporate giving, which is a little bit harder to research, but it can be helpful to see what have they sponsored in the past. So if, for example, they've sponsored another youth-serving organization, or another organization that addresses hunger or academic achievement or even health, there may be a link there that shows that you have similar missions. Next, what about publicized corporate partnerships? That can also tell you what their areas of interest are. Keep up with company news. This can give you an advantage over other nonprofits. Knowing what's going on not only with the company that you're talking to, but in the business world in general. If, for example, you notice that the stock market hasn't been doing so well, not the best time to approach one of your Fortune 500 partners. Alternately, though, if you learn that a company is opening a new headquarters in your town, or has just had record earnings, just hired a new CEO, has a new head of corporate foundation, those are all things that are important to what you might bring up when you're talking to that prospect, so that can be a really good opportunity. So now you know prospecting for growth and finding corporate partners. You're already hopefully thinking about those national partnerships you can leverage at home. Let's talk a little bit about how to approach a corporate prospect. I've been in lots of board meetings where the discussion sort of goes along the lines of, well, we should really go and talk to, insurance giant company A or banking great B. Let's just go out and talk to them. And I imagine that everyone on this webinar at some point has had a cold call with a corporation, and it probably didn't go as well as you would have liked it to. Or you've tried to just get past a gatekeeper and not been able to. I know I've had that experience. So, to make a connection and really get in to see that corporation, you want to first find out who the gatekeeper is. Who's the person that you need to talk to get to the person that you need to talk to. And connect with that person. So it's probably not the CEO, but if you can connect with the CEO's assistant, or perhaps there's someone who handles corporate giving for that organization, you can connect with that person. Better yet is find out who can help you to open the door. Who can help get you into that corporation? This is something that our board members can absolutely do. It's an easy way for them to be involved in resource development without having to do an ask. Can they call someone that they know over at a big company in your town and say, hey, I've got somebody here from the Boys and Girls Club. I'm on the board. It's such a great organization, and I was just wondering if she could come and talk to you about it. Usually that CEO is going to say sure when one of their contacts opens the door, but making that cold call can be tremendously difficult. Lots of directors of development have luck with joining Kiwanis or Rotary, local organizations where they get to know people at these corporations, or joining things like if there's a Young Professionals Council, if you fit that category, or if there's a leadership group sponsored by your Chamber of Commerce that you can join. Those are all places to meet other business leaders and to start being able to have the network to make that connection. Lastly, I suggest adding each of your board members on LinkedIn and adding your donors when appropriate, because then you can see who is in each of those people's networks, and that way you can make that connection even if the board member doesn't mention it. So if I'm trying to find somebody at National Bank America and I see that one of my board members knows the CEO, I can see that through LinkedIn and ask my board member to make that connection. Here are your talking points when you go in to see that corporate leader. You impact issues that they care about, and here's how, and here's why they care, and since you've done your research, you'll know this stuff. You work in the same geographic area. You work with their employees, either as volunteers or as clients. You have great potential customers among your constituents. There's a reason, a business reason, for them to be engaging with the Boys and Girls Club. And you're highly visible to them with a strong reputation. So when they support you, there's not only good charitable reasons, there are also good business reasons to support you. When you go in to talk to that corporation, you don't need to go in with a proposal in hand. That first call should really be, as it is with individual giving, a call to get to know them, understand what issues they care about, understand when they do their charitable giving and when they do their planning for gifts, whether they're interested in gifts outright or sponsorships. And at the end of that call, you can find out whether you should come back with a proposal, whether you should talk to someone else, whether you're there at the right time. So there's no need to put the cart before the horse. If they'll let you in once and you have a great call, they'll let you in again. So to sum up, corporate philanthropy is motivated by the bottom line, as well as by philanthropic interests. So you need to show that you can address both of those, because every organization that's a nonprofit can give them the opportunity to make a gift, but no one gives them the opportunity to make an impact like Boys and Girls Clubs. So try to look at your club from the company's point of view. Remember that you won't get support unless you have some kind of a connection. If it's a personal connection, so much the better, but most certainly a connection to employees, to mission, to benefiting the organization. Utilize every available resource to find that match, and then really promote how that match exists. I hope that you all have wonderful luck approaching corporate prospects. This is the time of year, late summer, early fall, when they start to budget for the following calendar year. So I encourage you to start having these preliminary discussions so that you can find out how you can do a proposal and what you would propose for. With that, you'll see that resources that are available to download, there's a PDF of these PowerPoint slides, a list of Boys and Girls Club's corporate partners, and our 2015 Giving in Numbers report. I also suggest that you consult bgca.net to see the corporate and cause promotions calendar and the list of our corporate and cause partnerships that is updated regularly on bgca.net. All of these things are under the fund, along with lots of other fantastic resources. So if you'd like to download those, they're just over in the handouts pane. That concludes our Quick and R, but I'm going to stay on the line to see if there are any questions, and if so, please just type away and it would be my pleasure to answer them. Thank you all so much for joining me.